Hello, everybody. I'm Tonya Davidson, the creator of the Jewelry Makers Guild, and I'm a fellow maker of 25 years. It was my quest and my idea, long idea. I've been planning this for a very long time to have these interviews because I always wanted to find out what makes these wonderful artists tick. And my goal is also to always learn as much as I can, try as many techniques, and try as many materials as possible, and to share that with other artists. So I thought, what better way to do it than in a podcast, and what better way than a visual podcast so that they could see the slides and the work of these artists. So I thought it would be fun to ask a bunch of artists if I could interview them and have great conversations about their art and how they got from the starting point to where they're selling their work and being successful and having lots of rewards in those areas. So if you're watching this on YouTube, please smash the like button and subscribe so that you will see future podcasts. And please tell other people about them and share the interviews with your friends. Please help me welcome to my podcast today, Sue Urquhart. Hi, Sue.
Hi.
So for those of you who don't know Sue, let me introduce her. She has been a full-time smith since 2009, but she has worked in the jewelry business since 1992. She has spent 10 years working for a couple. She did spend 10 years working for a couple of manufacturers, primarily casting, and then 7 years as a jewelry designer that was for a company that fabricated in Taxco, Mexico. At some point, Sue stopped doing her own work, but in 2007, she took a metal clay class, which got her back into making again. And that's actually how I met her. She was ordering metal clay from me. And that's been a long time. So when I started following her, and I was just intrigued with her work. And so I've been following her since 2007, which is a really long time. She opened her Etsy shop on a whim in 2008 with zero expectations, and less than a year later quit her design job to run Lulu Bug Jewelry, which she'll tell you how that name came about full time. And she's been doing that ever since. You'll see this picture on the screen because she's also got a daredevil side to her. She loves to travel, and her current obsession is Oaxaca. And she used to race motorcycles for fun. I don't know what that means, but she gave that up when she became self-employed. That looks scary to me, not like for fun, but that tells you a little bit about her personality. She lives in Santa Rosa, California, which is north of San Francisco in wine country, and with her partner Kelly, who is a transmission mechanic and helps her quite a bit, which I think is a pretty nice thing. And she also has 3 cats and a pit bull named Debbie. In the bottom right-hand corner of the screen below, you'll find Sue's contact information. So please be sure to follow her on Instagram, check out her Etsy pages and her website. And then I will also, after this is over with, in the comments section, post all of her additional contact information. So you'll have that at easy clicks. And I must tell you that when you start to follow her, you want to follow her stories because she shares really fun, interesting bench shots of what she's working on, her works in progress. And so I kind of like stalk those stories because they're so fascinating what she's working on. So thank you for joining me today, Sue. It's so great to have you here.
Oh, it's great to be here.
So as we're talking, I'm going to be showing your amazing work. And if at any time you want to stop me and add something about that piece, because maybe we didn't address it, please do, because I'm sure everyone who's looking at it would like to know anything about it that you want to add. And I can't wait to find out what makes you tick as an artist, because I know you from seeing your work and from being one of your suppliers, but I've never talked to you and really found out what makes you tick. So this is really what I've always wanted to do. I'm like, I know all these fascinating people, but what makes them fascinating is what I want to know. So let's dig in. For most all of us, there was something that sparked our creative desire to make things, to become a maker. And so I'm curious what your earliest memory was of making art and how you started going down this road.
Well, my mom and my grandma are very crafty. My grandma was a seamstress. My mom sewed and, in the 70s did every, macrame and needlepoint. And she made the these dolls that were on like a champagne bottle with a styrofoam ball and a
My mom.
sock and the
Yeah.
yarn hair. But she sold tons of them. I mean, it was like her little, pre Etsy business. So I was always around that. And then I guess this book, it's not my first piece, but I had this great teacher in first and second grade that took some of us and we did these after school things. And that was a book that, I wrote it, illustrated it, bound it. And so she really that was a really good foundation. We did animated cartoons, stop motion animation. We did all kinds of art stuff.
Wow.
So that always got me really into it. And then all the sort of African animal themes. Around that time, I read Born Free. I don't know, probably some people don't know what that is anymore, but it was very big in the 70s. It was Joy Adamson. She did Elsa the Lioness and, rehabilitated her and released her. And the part that resonated with me was not the animal stuff, was that she was an artist. Mm-hmm. She did these amazing watercolors and she did all the indigenous people in Kenya and the animals. And I wanted to be an artist like Joy Adamson. So that was kind of combined my love of animals and then art. And I was really fortunate in that my dad worked for United Airlines. So we got to travel a lot. So
wow,
I just said, Mom, we need to go to Kenya and go 3 probably. And I got her to read the books and got her interested. And my dad, he didn't want to travel, he didn't want to go. And in 1975, I was 9 and my sister was 7. And with the money that she made selling her silly bottle dolls, those dolls, we went to Kenya and Tanzania for the first time. So
wow.
that was so that was a big influence on everything. So
I never even got out of the United States till I was 50.
Yeah, I was really lucky, and we really took advantage of the travel discounts, and we really did a lot. So that's
cool. And all of that came from a book and from another teacher who inspired you.
Yes,
so it's really incredible how one little thing can spark something in somebody else and send them down a path that changes their whole life. Exactly. These are the stories you don't hear.
Yeah.
And they're really important to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And of course, I told you about this rhino that I love him so much because I have this thing for rhinos. So love that.
Yes. Yeah. And what was really neat, the teacher, her name was Mrs. Winslow. I invited her to my college, in my art school graduation show, and she came.
Really?
So that was really special. Yes, she did.
Wow. So you stayed in touch with her all those years?
No, but she actually became principal of the elementary school I went to. So she was easy to find. So, yeah.
So she obviously was good at her job. She became principal. So that tells you a lot. Too.
Yes. Yeah. But it was just really special that she came, and sort of the accumulation of all that. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
and this piece, I just want to say in this piece, that's a really early piece. That was from when I first started taking jewelry classes at the local junior college here in Santa Rosa. So that piece is probably from about 1992 or 93.
And you said it's quite large?
It's large. Yes. Because silver was $3 an ounce then. So you could really go big. It didn't matter.
It's like Play-Doh, cost of Play-Doh.
Yeah, I know. It was like,
and that
didn't matter.
So. For those of the people that don't know that are seeing it, that's chasing a repose, which is even more amazing. It's just sculpting like that is, and this I'm sure was one of your early projects when you were first learning.
It was probably a year or two in, like a first project or anything, but yeah, I was definitely still in taking classes. I wasn't working on my own yet. So you definitely
have a talent for sculpting. I can see with the meadow clay that you did and this, it's a whole nother way of interpreting what you see. Like I have more troubles with making things 3D than I think some people like yourself. So I'm always a
Yeah.
little bit jelly of people who can do that sculpting in 3D without and
Yeah.
be able to see that in their heads.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really,
Yeah.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I really took to the repoussé. I really love it. And I'm actually going to be doing a class pretty quick here. So to kind of refresh it all. And I'd really like to do more. So
Yeah. Who are you
it's
taking
really
it with?
satisfying. It's via the Silvera Jewelry School in Berkeley. And it's the Eastern, oh gosh, it's a guest teacher. And it's totally spacing out on the name now. They do that. It's like
Victoria
yes,
Lansford,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, with
Because
her.
you just
I
took an
believe that's her.
enameling
So,
class there too online, right?
oh, I did.
Yeah.
Yes. I was very skeptical about the Zoom classes, and now I'm all on board with the Zoom classes. So,
See,
I don't have to drive anywhere.
I told you I was stalking you. That's how I knew you were taking an
Yes.
enameling class. Okay, so for the next thing I wanted to find out and ask you about was it's a two-part question. So I believe that all of our experiences in our travel and our ups and downs, losses and things that we've gained in life, and the people that we choose to spend our time with, including our animals, help shape the person that we become, and more importantly, it shapes our work. So who or what would be some of the people or things that would have shaped your work besides these two early people that we just talked about? And then tell us a little bit about your travels to Mexico or around the world that have helped shape your work even more.
Well, let's see. As far as people, definitely when I went to art school, which was great and I loved it. And there was actually jewelry classes. And I was always kind of like, oh, I should do that. And I never had time. And then when I moved to Santa Rosa, the junior college had an excellent metals program. So I took that. And my teacher there, his name was Peter Brew. He's since passed away. He was kind of a gruff old guy. And, but we really clicked. And so he really had a tremendous influence on getting me, like, as soon as I started with metal, I was like, oh my God, I love this. This is what I need to do. And he really helped build a good foundation and taught me good habits. And it's like, make the back as nice as the front. And yeah, he was really, really important in all of that. And then just like the travel, that picture's from my first trip to Kenya and Tanzania. That's my sister next to me. Got my purple tough skins on. And that was a trip to Egypt. Wow. And I've been to Egypt like 4 times. I also love Egypt and traveling there. And that was the first trip. So yeah, the travel really, really, and it's not so much, I don't go and think like, oh, I see this thing and, oh, I'm going to go home and make this piece. I think it's just the whole experiencing something new and different and seeing how other people do things and how other people live. And, and that's Debbie and Angus, the dog and one of the 3 cats. But yeah, just the whole, I don't know, just immersing myself in something totally different and unexpected. And then like that's in Oaxaca, which is the art and creativity there is just off the hook. It's everything. There's murals everywhere, street art. They do these parades and constantly people make amazing costumes. There's music, there's food. I mean, just like everything. They do textiles, all the indigenous crafts and things people make. So it's just being in a place where it's just so inspiring. You just want to go home and just create. I just find it really, it just fills my soul, basically. I mean, it sounds kind of corny, but, I just love it. So it's very inspiring.
Had you been to Oaxaca before your class with Michael Domingue, or was that your first experience there?
No, that was my first experience in Mexico, was traveling with Michael Domingue. He does, for those who don't know, he does assemblage, which is basically you take a bunch of junk and make a sculpture. And then he adds paint and he adds a lot of other stuff to it. And so I've started doing those travel workshops with him to Mexico and to New Orleans, which are just just amazing, creative, fun. My wig is from New Orleans. We dress up, we have costumes, we just have, it's just a really fun, creative time being with artists. So
I
it's
love
just
that.
really,
There's nothing
yeah,
better than being in community with other artists that get you, and acting,
yes,
being able to be free and explore ideas and bounce things off of
yes,
other people. I
yeah,
think that's why I've taken so many classes, is not so much about me, about learning. I mean, I do get
yes,
something out of every class, but it's more about being able to spend time with other artists that I don't normally get.
exactly. Exactly. And that's about the only thing, like with the Zoom classes, they're great, but that's the only thing missing is you don't have that,
Community.
really getting to know people. I mean, you kind of do, but that would be the only downside to a Zoom class, I think, is that meeting people. But it really is just being around creative people and people making stuff, even if it's not directly, jewelry. It really,
Yep.
I really enjoy it, get a lot from it. So
I can't wait till the
it's very
in-person
important.
classes come back. So I haven't.
Yeah.
I,
Oh,
I
I
took
know.
one last year, and waited till December, and
Uh-huh.
it was so nice to get away. It was just, I don't know, and
Yeah.
just be with that energy that artists
Yeah,
have.
it's the energy and seeing what other people are making and walking around and, oh, you're doing this that way. And it's really important. And it really helps me, makes me excited about coming back home
Yeah.
and making stuff. So that's
Yes,
good.
it's that spark.
Yes,
So
exactly.
my next question is, I think the best art is made by people who have something to say. They want to communicate through every mark, through every detail, and express their stories, because we all have these stories inside of us, or we're trying to tell stories, and maybe it's not with words, but it's with metal. So what are you trying, do you have a goal of what you try to communicate? Is it different for every piece? Do you go through cycles of what your messages are, what you want to, or just sometimes you just create something that makes you happy?
I'd say mostly it's creating something that makes me happy, using images that I like and enjoy and say something to me. And I guess, like, I don't even like name my pieces. I just, like, that thing is just called,
Yeah.
heart in hand. Because I would rather everyone be able to take away whatever they get from it. Like, I don't want to inform the viewer. I
Mm-hmm.
want them to just interpret it however they want. So, it may mean something to me, but you know, I hope it means something different to everyone that looks at it. So I definitely, and, I'm kind of on a like eyeball, skull, heart roll right now.
I noticed that.
Uh, and so I'm kind of, though, like, I'm ready to start doing some animals again too, I think. So it just kind of goes in cycles. And also it depends on, like, I've got all these cool glass eyes right now, and, kind of what materials I come across. I'm always on this lookout for unusual things to add into my jewelry too. So,
And you don't have a problem
but
hoarding them. I used to collect a lot of assemblage stuff because I had taken Michael Dominguez's class and Robert LeBeau, or
mhm,
Keith LeBeau, and
yeah,
I started collecting all sorts of stuff. But then I was like, I didn't want to give it up. I didn't want to use it in my pieces. I just wanted to keep it, and I had a hard time like letting go of my little tchotchkes.
yeah, I definitely have a hoarding problem. But if it's stuff I'm buying specifically to use in my jewelry, I'm usually pretty good about giving it up. So, there may be one or two things I keep for myself, but at this point, I'm okay with letting it go
I
unless it's
love
like
those.
really, really different. So,
Those eyeballs are
um,
so cool. They
yeah,
are
that's
neat.
yeah. Some of them I get from an artist up in Oregon, and then some of them, the ones that are oblong, I get those in Mexico City at a religious supply store. So
Oh,
yeah,
neat.
like the one in the Hamsa.
Yeah.
So those are actually for repairing the Santos, the saint
Uh-huh.
statues that come in all different sizes. So then you carry them around in the parades, and I guess they get banged up, and
Huh.
you have to replace the eyes. So
Wow.
there's a whole bunch of us at the looking at us like, oh my God, what are they doing? So, but yeah,
He's
I'm
so
always on the lookout
sweet.
for. Oh, thank you.
He's sweet. So I love your animals. So a lot of artists get attached to their work and they have a hard time parting with it. For others, it's about the journey of the making of the art. Where do you find yourself in that? Is it, what's more of a drive for you?
For me, it's absolutely the journey. Absolutely. Once I've made it, I'm fine with letting it go. Yeah, definitely. It's the journey. Like that was a custom piece for a friend. And the one before it, though, the Easter Island heads,
Mm-hmm.
that was just a personal project. One of my best friends died almost 4 years ago. And that she was a traveler and she actually worked on Easter Island for a while and was very into tikis and stuff. So each one of those actually has a little bit of her ashes in it. So I made a bunch of them for family and friends. And
so are they hollow?
Yeah, those are metal clay. So I kind of sculpted them, cut them in half, hollowed them out, put the little bit of ash in, sealed them up, and fired them. So
that's what I love so much about metal clay that I think most metalsmiths who are traditional metalsmiths miss out on, is that it isn't meant to replace traditional art. Traditional metals.
It's different. Yeah,
it's like having a different kind of paintbrush in your toolbox that you can use for things like this, or like carving on the fly where you don't want to cast something.
Exactly.
Or hollow forms, things like that. It really has a use, and it's a great technique because instead of coming at metals from a sawing and hammering or smithing point of view, you're coming from a sculpting point of view. So especially if you love to sculpt, it's got lots of great assets to it.
It does.
Now this custom piece, I saw you making some hearts this week. Is this kind of from the same line, or are they different hearts?
No, this one's different. This one's, I don't know, pretty good size. It's a good 1.5 inches. That one's metal clay.
Okay.
With the, and then I soldered. So, but the little ones, I actually did the master in metal clay, which is another thing it's good for.
Yes.
You can make a metal master, and then I sent it off and had those cast. But this one is a one of a kind sculpted. The whole metal clay thing, it gets poo-pooed so much, but it's like, it's just some things it's great for, And
I think if you're taught only of a very narrow focus of it, like to roll it out, fold it over, and then fire it, that's so limiting. And it's like taking a piece of metal and soldering something to it. There's nothing to that. It's you got to go beyond and push the limits of what the metal is made for, the material's made for.
Exactly.
I love your little iguana.
Exactly.
Or a chameleon, right?
Oh, he's chameleon.
Yes.
Chameleon. Yeah, so he's repoussé. And then soldered on. So
he's wonderful. Look at the little flower.
Oh, thank you.
It.
Yeah.
And then your current passion, skulls, which I love, and the enamel that you're doing on those. It looks almost and those are torch fired, right?
No, those are kiln fired.
They are. So you're still getting the oxidation.
They're kiln fired.
Like you would with the torch, but it's kiln fired. I love that. So is it copper?
Yeah. Well, it's copper. That's why you get the black edges. It's copper. So,
love
and
it.
just starting the enameling. So I just cut out the skulls, hammered in some form, and then just started experimenting. So it's kind of more fun to experiment on a skull than on a rectangle. So
yes, for sure. And I've seen you make a lot, so they must be going over very well.
Yes. And they're fun to make. So it's good.
So my questions seem to be redundant because we're covering it as we look at your pictures, but I'm going to ask you anyway in case there's something you want to add to it. So my next question is, how do you find the inspiration to drive your very whimsical work? Is it based on more the materials or an experience or a story?
It's actually all of the above. I mean, it just really depends on the piece. I mean, sometimes like with the eyeballs, it's the materials, because it's like, oh my God, I've got this cool eye. What am I going to do with this? And, how can I do something, that's maybe a little unusual or different. And then sometimes, I see something like this. This is in New Orleans. This is at a little chapel at the St. Roch Cemetery. And people go in and they leave offerings as thanks for answered prayers. And it's just the most magical, tiny little room that is one of my favorite places in New Orleans. So,
wow, that's
but
cool.
I like hearts and hands and eyeballs and stuff like that. So
I love that too. There's a cute little store in Santa Fe that there's actually 2 of them that sell those kinds of things, and they're always my favorite places to go into. And this looks like the place in Italy that I went to.
This one is in Florence.
Monica and I were talking about this at the last podcast. It's fascinating.
Yes, it's the wax. It's at the Natural History Museum, and again, it's just like the weird. I mean, I like body parts, and I mean, those things are absolute works of art. I mean, I spent hours in there just blown away by all these wax models. So
it's amazing that's how they made them and that they lasted as long as they have, and with the materials that they had. And every case is like this. It's just amazing. And there's botanicals
incredible.
And animals.
Yes,
really cool. I love that.
Yes. Yeah, I love the wax medical models.
And of course, I love the altars for the Day of the Dead.
Yes. That's in Oaxaca. Yes. Yeah. So that just the colors and I love all that.
And
very,
tell us
very
about
inspiring.
These pieces.
Oh, these are little, those are the little I don't carve the skulls, but I got those little pearls and then had to figure out a good way to set them. So those are actually, I took Rosie Revolver's, one of her online classes where she shows how to do the pinning. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I could do that with these skulls. So
I see it now. I didn't see the pinning before. So I see it going through the top and the chin.
Because they're a bead. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do with these things? And again, so that was sort of the material driving the piece. It's okay, I've got these really cool things. What am I going to do with them? And I saw that class and I was like, oh, I bet I can do that with these skulls. So it's always a little nerve wracking because it's the very last step when the piece is all done and like taking the torch to hoping I don't burn the skull. But so far they've all come out. So, well, exactly.
I just did a whole bunch of, about a couple months ago, I did a whole bunch of wampum beads, which are dyed, I think, or they have something in them. Mm-hmm. So if you don't hit it right away, that burns out the purple color, and then you're left with just this ugly white shell. Oh. So it's kind of good, though. You get good at it because it forces you to have your timing of that, and they're just the right torch point going.
All prepared and like, going in, but
clinch time.
Yes.
Now, is this like Fordite or Corvetteite or something?
That's Fordite. So that's actually layers of automotive paint that's been kind of cut. And so these, I cut the skulls myself from Fordite. And then again, this too, I kind of had to figure out, how to set them and so again, this is sort of the material driving how I made the piece. So
love it. It's really great.
So those are fun.
So I have a couple of questions that were submitted by the group, and if you don't want to answer them, that's fine. So just say I'll pass on that one. So the first question was, how do you make your eyeballs, or can you share your source?
Okay, since everyone that follows me on Instagram can figure out the eyeballs, the really human looking ones, those come from Mexico City, but the other ones, her name is Janelle Dudley Beads, and she's on Instagram. She's up in Oregon, and she's a glass worker, and that's where I get most of those. So she's amazing.
There's another glass worker in our group. I think it's Carrie Colette, who makes the glass eyes, I think. So I think if you went
I'll
on
have
to
to find her.
If she's in the Jewelry Metal Maker or Jewelry Makers Guild group. So I think she made them because she posted a picture. I think it was her. But we have several glass bead makers on our group that probably can steer you towards somebody else if you need more or if you're different style.
Okay.
Or
I have I've
tons.
I've hoarded. I'm a hoarder, so I have a lot of.
A girl after my own heart.
Oh yes, I got to have more.
So
gotta have a lot to choose from.
The second question that came in was, do you prefer to torch fire or kiln fire your enamels?
Currently I'm kiln firing because I'm really new to enameling. I mean, I literally just started. I think I did a torch firing class, I don't know, 10 years ago or something. So I'm really trying to, like, I really want to learn and get good at it. So I'm trying to take my time and, you know, just do it right and not get into bad habits, which I'm pretty good about getting into bad habits. So, but yeah, I got a kiln. I got a really nice kiln. So yes, I am trying to do it right, you know.
Well, we have lots
Hopefully.
of enamelists on the group. And then
Oh, good.
my next guest is a master enamelist. So if you have questions, always post them because I'm sure they'll be happy to jump on and help. But that's we seem to have a lot of them in our group. So that's a good place to get some information.
Yeah.
So my next question for you is to take us through some of your images on what's on your bench now.
Okay, that's soldering an eyeball and snakes. So those are pieces again. You know, I just tried like the snake was something I did. I think the original snake I did back in the 90s in wax, and then I did one in metal clay from that, and now that one was metal clay, and I've had them cast. So those are kind of fun to play with, and again the eyes and just putting them together. I also do the snakes with a heart and just trying to do different things with those. So
when you're working in metal clay, are you using the fine silver or the sterling? And then when you have it cast, are you having it cast in sterling?
I do both. I probably mostly work with sterling now, just because it's a little sturdier, and then they're cast in sterling or bronze.
Okay,
so
great. And I see you're using, isn't that Christopher's soldering thing? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. From Lion Punch Forge.
Yes,
Lion Punch Forge. Yes.
And we gave away one of those. January, that was our challenge prize that somebody won for January. So
yeah.
I've looked at that and thought I might need one of those sometime.
I used it today. It's a great little tool to have. So very handy.
I love the weights that they have on there. So I have some, but I don't have any with the weights. And sometimes I wish it had something to push it down a little bit more. So
yeah, it's very handy.
And then this piece, you're working on some hearts.
Yes, I've done. Again, this is another glass maker. I found Sue Wade. I think I found her, I don't know, on Instagram or Facebook. And yeah, my customers have gone crazy for those hearts. So I make a lot of hearts. And then that bezel, it's fire bezel. That is Jeff Klein Silver. He's on Facebook and Instagram. So I'm amazed when I kind of stop and realize how many supplies, like all my supplies now come from people that sell on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, so it's a really good.
It's amazing, isn't it? How, and then they've got this new feature now where you can put in your catalog in your stories and point to which products are featured in your stories.
Oh yeah.
So they've gotten it really slick now. So you can just go to Instagram and shop.
Yeah. So so I do a lot of hearts. And those are the skulls before they're enameled.
Love it.
I like to have a bunch of those around for experimenting on.
So when you work, do you have days where you saw out a bunch of stuff? Do you work like assembly style? You're not just working one-offs, right? I
do a little. I don't like to get too many things going at once. I mean, I'd really like to just work one at a time because it's more enjoyable. So I may do a bunch of pieces, get the bezels made, get stuff soldered to back plates and get all that done. And then I take them from there and work individually, do the sawing and more embellishment and finish work. So, but like for the enameling, because my studio is really small, like my enamel kiln is on a cart, I have to pull it out and it's a lot of setup. So if I'm going to enamel, I want to have at least half a day, preferably the whole day to do it. So that's kind of I get to do that on weekends now. That's I get to enamel. So
now, do you have air conditioning out there? So in the summer, will you be enameling as much?
I have an air conditioner. I don't know that I will be able to run the kiln and the air conditioner at the same time. We will find out. I hope I will.
It's a nice winter activity.
Yeah. And that Oh, go ahead.
You're like a wax expert anyway, right? Because that's what you did
Well,
for that other you worked in the casting. Is that
I worked in casting, but it was a lot of injecting and then
oh
just cleaning the injected waxes. And I mean, I did a lot of it, but I haven't done it in years. And again, through Silvera Jewelry School, one of their Zoom classes, they had figurative wax carving. And it was like, oh, I want to do that. And so this is a little, I still need to finish him. And I'll send it to Joe and he will cast it for me. So,
nice.
But yeah, I'm kind of excited to get back into that because it's kind of nice because I actually have a workbench in the living room too, where I do my metal clay. So that's now clay and wax. So I can kind of do that in the evenings. I don't have to be out in my studio to do that. So I'm kind of excited about playing around with that a little more.
Yeah, it's nice to have a dedicated area for that because I often want to work in it, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to clean up my bench. I don't want to have the mess, and so
yeah, it's. I forgot how messy it was. I was like, oh my God, there's wax everywhere. Yeah. It's really messy. So, but yeah, but it's fun. So
my next 2-part question for you is I'm wondering, because you're so creative anyway, so maybe this is not something you even think about, but what do you do to prepare yourself daily so that you have a great studio day, a very creative day? Is there like some kind of ritual that you do? And then the second part of that is, what does your perfect studio day look like? What would it be like from beginning to end? What would that look like?
I actually keep to a pretty good schedule. And so the first thing I always do every day is I have a dog, little Debbie, and we always go for a walk or a hike or a run every morning. So I always start my day off with that, and then just come home. And it kind of depends on, some days are shipping days. I have to do a lot of finished work and assembly to get stuff shipped. And but my perfect studio day would be a day where I have some ideas and I have a whole day ahead of me with no interruptions. I don't have to get up. I have no errands to run. I don't have to go to the post office. So that, and just being able, but having something I actually want to do, not just the like, oh, what should I do today? So
yeah,
that's
one of the things I'm battling with now. It's like, well, I need to work on my taxes, but I'd rather go work on Antler or something else. So I haven't worked on my taxes. But
I have a CPA for that, so I don't do any of that.
I have to get the stuff to the CPA. That's the problem.
Yeah. That's the hard, yeah.
If I would just keep up with it on a monthly basis, it wouldn't be so
bad.
But
that's not the fun. That's not the fun part. So
Do you find that you schedule like a shipping day once a week, or do you just go whenever you have stuff that you need to ship out?
No. Oh no, I'm very schedule oriented. I mean, my background is all production, so I worked in all these small companies. So I absorbed all the shipping, even though I didn't do it, how they managed orders, how things got shipped. So I'm very schedule driven. So I have currently I used to ship every day, but now after COVID, I switched to twice a week, which I'm actually really loving that because that's, I hate going to the post office. So and then like that picture is my production work. So I sell that primarily on Etsy. So yeah, it's very schedule driven, but
I think that's good. And that's something that
I have my process.
I think that's really good.
Oh shoot, you froze. Oh.
I think that's really good, and you need to have it if you're going to be a successful artist. If you can't figure out how to be really efficient and productive by setting a schedule, you'll just be chasing your tail all the time. And I think that's where a lot of people get lost because they haven't taken their time to figure out how to make it more regimented, even though we artists don't like being regimented. That's part of the problem. So my next question for you, which is kind of down that road, is how do you manage business tasks like marketing, packaging, shipping, and sourcing? Because it does take time to order materials, to find the materials, to do these things, with being able to make work. And when you look at your week, what percentage of the time do you spend creating versus all those other tasks? And do you have any tips for people about how, because you've been so successful at selling your work. I mean, really, it's amazing. Because I saw your orders with what you were ordering from me, and I'm like, she's making a whole lot of stuff. And I've always admired that. And there's always something new. It's a very creative flow that you have. So you're doing something really well that probably can help other people. So if there's any advice you can give on that, it would be great.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Again, I look back to my background in jewelry production, and it's, as much as I don't like to think of myself as a regimented person, I think I am, or I learned how to be that way. And it's like managing, I look at the orders and what needs to ship. And I also know sort of like what time of day I have, like my metal clay work, I do that in the house. So I do that at, geez. Kind of, this one's stumping me a little bit. You just have to, well, it's also figuring out when are you most creative? I mean, I do a lot of my design work at night, when I'm just sitting with the sketchbook, figuring out your workflow and when you're most efficient doing different tasks.
That's a great tip, just to sit down and figure out when your energy is at the highest. And when you don't have kids bothering you, or dogs, or husbands, or spouses, or whatever. And then how you fit in those do you like to work in like certain number of hour segments? You're going to like hunker down and be creative for 3 hours at a time, or do you just go with the flow?
Probably kind of both, really. I mean, it's like I really do have a schedule. I mean, it's not set in stone, and I change it, but it's like I get up, if it's a shipping day, I do all the finished work on the items that need to be shipped and the assembly and get them packaged. And, my goal is always get to the post office as early as I can. And then after that, once I'm done with the post office, then then I can go back. So that's kind of like my little reward for a shipping day, is I get to go do something fun. And I mean, I really just kind of go with the flow, but I would say I do have, I definitely have a schedule, but it's not, 3 hours of this and 5, because it varies. Some days I have a lot of orders. Some days I don't have any. Christmas time, all I do is orders. I can't do anything else. It's so busy. So it just really depends, and it changes and flows throughout the year. So, but it's definitely, you have to take it seriously. I mean, this is my job. This is the only thing I do to make a living, and you have to treat it as such, because when I first started, it was like, I've got all, I can go for a bike ride, I can do this. And it's like, no, this is your job. You have to treat it as such. And however your schedule works out, I think is, just figure out what you do best at these times. And
I think that's great advice.
That's how it's worked for me. So
I love it. So it's really great to see the insight into how each artist tackles these things, because it's what works for one person may not work for another. But if you haven't heard how somebody can do it, you may not have ever entertained whether it would work for you. So I love when people share that kind of information, because it does give you a little insight into, if it's not working for you, what you're doing now, maybe you could try it this way and do
something different.
Yeah. And I like to bulk things together. So if I'm going to, Mondays is usually a day that I don't get a lot of work done at my bench, because I'm handling, returning emails, taking care of business, doing some marketing. And then I just don't feel like being creative either, because you get all that energy around you of writing bills or whatever it is. So I think being able to figure out where your energy comes from and how to support that best is really key. So I love that conversation. I also love this piece that's on the screen. Tell us a little bit about him.
Oh, this one's a little sneaky. The skull part is actually metal clay.
Okay.
I do a lot of etching. All my metal clay stuff, like my production pieces that have images, I take my artwork and I etch brass plates. I make my own plates. So that skull, he was a plate. So I did him because that's kind of easier than etching, and with silver chemicals is so much more the nitrate, whatever that is. Anyway, so I did him. I actually formed him in the pitch bowl and then soldered everything else onto him. So he's a mixed piece, but you would never look at that and you would never think that that's part of that is metal clay.
I love that.
So
I never noticed till just now that his flames are just the bezel wire stacked up and
yes,
soldered.
yes,
so it's
yes,
very creative. Love it.
Yeah,
love it.
Yes. Oh, I had one thing just came to mind about tips and organizing. Back when I first was starting out, when I just got back into doing the metal clay, and I was like, oh, I'll open an Etsy shop. And it was just kind of like, oh, how do I ever find the time to do this and all that? I did websites for a little while, and it was for this woman who made this kind of crazy paper jewelry that it was big, but she was young and she had 2 kids, but she had so much work. I was like, how, with 2 small kids, how do you make all this? Like, where do you find the time? And she just said, I make sure that I do 2 hours every day. If nothing else, I get 2 hours, like she had a practice, even if it's at night after the kids are in bed and from the TV, whatever. And I got at that time because I started doing that. It's just like, oh, okay. So just start doing something every day.
Yes.
This is before I had my own business and everything, but it just, even if it's just sorting through your findings or organizing stuff, but just do something for being able to work every day. So anyway, that was a good piece of advice I got.
That's a great tip. And one of my friends was a famous musician, and she said when she would have a block, she would make herself go sit in the chair for 2 hours with her guitar. And she had to sit there. She couldn't get on her social media. She couldn't do anything. She just had to sit there. And before she knew it, she was playing. And just playing around, just playing. And then things started coming to her. And that's how she had her most successful album. And I think sometimes people say they don't know what to make. They have no idea what to make. Well, just go in and cut a bunch of circles, or just solder a bunch of jump rings. It will come. Something will come to you about how to use them.
Right. Exactly. Organize your stones. Start looking. Do something. Just get out and do something. But and if you can do something every day, that's really key, is doing something every day. So.
Yes, you get in that habit. It's just like it's something I do every day.
It's a habit.
I go create for 2 or 3 or 4 hours every day, and something will come of that.
Yes.
The piece that I just made that had a shark's tooth in it, I was going to a class and I'm like, I don't know what we're doing. I'm just going to grab a bunch of materials. So I grabbed little of this, little of that, which was funny because I got stopped in the airport by TSA because they wanted to know why I had rattlesnake tails and shark's teeth and all these grizzly claws, and they wanted to look at it. They brought their boss over. I'm like, I'm gonna miss my plane.
Oh yeah.
They had to see all this stuff, and I got there and I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna pick something, and I picked the tooth and thought, okay, I'm just gonna grave around this tooth. That's what I'm gonna do in this project, and it was so fun. To just have no expectations, just pick a material and just create, just force yourself to make something. And if it's terrible, you can recycle it, start over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're not committed.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody knew you made a mistake either.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your beautiful and very interesting studio. And I'm glad I get to see pictures, because normally I just see the background in your stories, but it's so fun to see all the things that you've collected from your travels. Yeah. So this is your fabrication
my metal
bench?
Clay and wax bench. This is actually my living room, so I do that kind of. No, it's metal clay and wax. Okay. So that's in the living room. So that I work there at night. And that's a lot of my artwork that I've collected on my travels that makes me happy. So I like being around it. And that's in my studio where I am right now. So there's my new little enamel kiln up there, which also fires to 2350. So someday I'm going to learn how to do porcelain so I can make porcelain cabs. So it was like, oh, I'm getting one that gets that hot. So, and it's a great kiln. I love it. The way the door opens is really good for enameling. There's no latch.
And that's a Paragon?
Yes. So yes. It's the something 11 something. Yeah. So that's where I'm sitting right now. So I do, the artwork on my travels, I collect artwork, original artwork, and just I'm literally surrounded by it makes me very happy, and it's my happy place. And there's all my beads from New Orleans hanging up there, and it's very inspiring. It's my happy place.
Be surrounded by those colors and patterns too. So that's there's energy and color. I was.
Oh yes, absolutely.
I was an interior design major in college, and my senior project was the Arizona Deaf and Blind School, and I learned so much by having to go there because we had to design the lower floor of the center, and we heard all this research from them about how they can feel color. So we made certain corridors different colors so they could put their hand up and actually feel the colors. And it was very interesting to learn about the psychology of color, the vibration of color, all those things that we don't think about because we can see that we're not feeling. And your studio obviously gives you a lot of that you're probably not even aware, subconsciously about, but yeah, it's very cool. Love it. Okay, so I'm such a tool
it makes me happy.
person. I'm a tool freak. So one of my favorite parts is to find out what are the things people love to use. Like if you took it away from them, they would be really sad that they couldn't have it. So, and every artist so far, you're number 10, and everyone has been very different. So, drum roll, nice. Your number 10 favorite tool is your Delray Dead Blow mallet. And I don't have this one, but I like it because I don't think I've ever met a hammer I didn't like, but
yes.
You use that for forming?
Oh, yeah. It's great. For mostly like for flattening things, and it's nice because it doesn't mar the metal. It's heavy. It's a dead blow, so it doesn't bounce. It's just I just use it. It's really good. Things that warp. So, I love it.
And your number 9 is your texturing wheels, and I love these.
Oh, yes. And I just got the one that's like really big, and I love it. I like to do the backs of my pieces with it. I just like a nice texture. So now, I love those.
Do you mostly use the yellow one? Because isn't that like a coarse? Because I use the blue and the red, but those are like fine and extra fine.
No.
I'm thinking I probably need something
No,
coarser.
I just got these some from Guess Wine, and they're 1 millimeter. The little wires are 1 millimeter each, so they're huge. So it puts a really nice. It's really nice texture on it. So, but I do have the fine ones too, and I think they're great. So
they're kind of scary when you first use them. So just for people who are looking at it and never used them before, make sure you wear eye protection. And then it's not really a pushing down.
Yes.
It's you're just
wear face shields.
Yes, because when those break off, and they do, and you can replace the little heads. You don't want it stuck in your eyeball or in your face. So wear some good safety equipment.
No.
But they're so great. You can put them in your flex shaft, and you just don't push with them. Just let them lick your piece, and it's just like a scraping. But they're wonderful. You should try them. They're not inexpensive, but they do a really great job, especially on backs of pieces.
Yeah, they're really good.
Where you polish those to high polish, they're going to get scratched from wear and tear. So why not put a texture on them, make them look really good for a long period of time? So I love that.
That's what I do.
See, if you didn't bring this up, people might not know about that. So I love this part of it. So your number 8 is your automatic torch lighter.
Yeah.
Now that's the best. That's a good one. Don't
Oh my God. Yeah. I don't know how I ever lived without one. Cause
Don't buy this one. I don't like this one.
okay.
There's some, like, when people,
Yeah.
well, you see it, that's the most expensive one. This is the cheaper one. This one doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
So skip that one.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen these?
Yeah. One thing I've learned from, is that like,
It's a candle
no,
lighter.
I have not seen that. Oh, that. Okay. Yeah.
They're $12. They'll light any
Yeah.
torch,
Yeah.
even the tiny tip torches.
Yeah. 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 One thing I've learned, you know, my partner, he's a transmission mechanic. So he's got, you want to talk about tools. And one thing he taught me is like, buy the best and cry once.
Yes.
You know, just buy the best you can afford, because if you buy the cheap one, you're going to end up buying the better one anyway.
That's
so
right.
just, if you can, just buy that one to start with.
Yes,
So
I totally agree. And my dad was
yes.
a mechanic, so I inherited his tools until they
Okay.
got
Yeah.
stolen. But
The tools.
they have a lot of tools.
Oh, yes, they have a lot of tools.
Your number 7 is your GRS Benchmate system, which I couldn't live without.
Yeah, it's just great for everything. I have, you know, my bench pin. I have the plate, the riser plate. So when I saw, I can raise my bench pin up for a good sawing height. I have the vise. Yeah, it's just there. It's great. It's
You
great.
have the slide
Yes,
and
that.
lock?
Yes.
Yes. I can't live without these.
No, I just, yeah.
You have the silver
Yeah,
one, the
they're-
GRS
yeah.
one?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Those
Yeah.
are, either one is
Yeah.
must have.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, they're great.
And your number 6, I saw it in your picture, is that Anvil Stump, which
Yes.
I would love to have.
Yes.
I don't have one of those.
It's great because my studio is very small, so I cannot have like a tree stump in here.
Mm-hmm.
So this, it's small, the height is adjustable. So I have it pushed under my bench, you know, it's out of the way. And then when I need it, I just pull it out. And I actually hammered a bunch of leather belts around it. So it holds all my hammers.
Nice.
And it's great. It's like a super solid hammering surface. I love it.
Yeah,
so
those are
I
nice.
highly recommend that. If you can't deal with the actual tree stump, that's really good.
They're harder to find than you'd think. And then most of the ones,
Yeah.
like we moved to, we have a house in Montana. We live there half the year. And I thought, oh, it'll be easy to find tree stump there because there's trees everywhere, but they're all soft trees.
Yeah.
So I moved there thinking, it'll be
Stop.
easy.
Yeah, you got to get the.
And it wasn't easy. Your number 5
yeah.
is your green lion saw frame, and I love that too.
Oh, I had the other one. Don't want to diss anybody, but I think it's really great. I break far fewer saw blades than I used to with that, and it's easy to get them in and out, and I just think it's a great product.
It is a great saw, and I love it. I wish they made one that was a little bit deeper throated. Sometimes I get into a turn and I'm like, okay, I've got to back out and start over and go the other direction.
Yeah.
So that's the only drawback, but I love the oval handle because it fits better in my hand than a round handle. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's great. It just feels so solid. You know, you can get your blades really tight, and I'm team Green Lion. So. And they send out stickers when you buy one. You put them up.
Oh, you do get stickers.
Yes,
you do get stickers.
Your number 4 is, I don't know anyone who can't live without this, which is your Fordham SR with the foot pedal.
Yeah.
And do you like a certain handpiece?
Yes. Yep.
Do you have like a quick change?
I have my I have the Swiss Technique quick change handpiece, which I really like. I actually have 2, and then I have one with just the regular Fordham with the chuck for drilling and for bigger things. But especially when I used to do production work, when I used to work for a goldsmith, and it's like, I literally do almost everything with a flex shaft. I mean, I rarely ever pull out a file. I mean, sometimes you need a file to get in a little corner, but I do 95% of everything with my flex shaft. So could not live without it.
It's faster once you get
and get the metal foot pedal if you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Than the plastic ones. And if you're ever missing
Yeah.
a stone or something, it's inevitably flies
absolutely.
into the foot pedal.
Yeah.
The first thing I ever do when I climb underneath my bench is shake my foot pedal. Something always falls out.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, and then your number
Oh, there's
3,
the
yes,
technique.
is
Yes.
I should have just looked at your pictures. But
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have that one, but
Yeah.
I like it. It's fatter, rounder.
It's fatter, rounder. You can buy all the parts for it. Yeah, I just really like it. So it works better than like the Fordham one is kind of cheap. It's just a much nicer tool. So
I like it. I'll have to think about upgrading.
Yeah, I really like it.
Your number 2 is oxygen concentrator. Now, do you use this?
Yes.
Use this with your Little Smith torch and propane, right?
Yes. Yep.
So I have a friend who's in the group who just got one of these, and she asked me about how to hook it up, and I was like, I have no idea. I've never hooked one up. Do you mind if I have her ask you for some help later?
No, she can, because there's actually, I cannot think of her name, but there's a woman that's got a video, which I can look it up. I can't think of it right now. Leslie, something with a V. She does online classes. She has an excellent YouTube video, shows you exactly how to do it, tells you what you need to order, gives you the part numbers, it's very simple, but you do need some brass fittings. But I ordered everything, and it's really easy to set up, and it is life-changing to not run out of oxygen.
Yeah, and you don't have to carry tanks anywhere. So are you
highly
also
recommend getting one of those if you solder a lot.
Are you using the aquarium hoses?
No.
Okay, because that was my friend, who I'll have her ask you the question later. She was concerned about the aquarium hoses that Leslie was recommending, so I thought maybe there was an alternative that you could help her with. But
I think I just got whatever she recommended, and I don't even. I want to say I maybe got the tubing at Home Depot or something. I don't recall. I'll have to look. But whatever I did, I followed Leslie's instructions, and it worked perfectly. So,
okay.
Yep.
Might be something I look at later when I don't have a husband to haul my tanks anymore.
No, they're really great. It's a really good thing.
All my lamp worker friends, they stopped using tanks years ago because they got tired of carrying them back and forth. I don't seem to go through a tremendous amount of oxygen, but I also have the huge tanks. I
have little tanks. Yeah, I have the little ones, so I can take them myself. And it was like at least once a month I had to go get oxygen. So
no, I wouldn't do that.
No.
I hate leaving
Definitely
the house.
worth it.
I hate leaving the studio. I just want to stay here all day long. So your number one favorite tool is your Little Smith with these amazing page tips.
The page. Yes. Those are a game changer. Yes. Yeah. I don't think I've inadvertently melted anything by accident since I got those, because it definitely kind of spreads the flame out. It's not as concentrated. They're great. I love them. So those were a big game changer. So.
And I'm just going to give a shout out. There's a company called Tin Man Tech, TIN Man Tech, TECH. And they're it's also called TM Technologies. They sell the page tips, but they're very helpful. They also sell these hoses that are lightweight hoses that you can, better for you ergonomically. And then I set up all my torches with quick changes, so that when I want to switch out from one torch to another, I can just unplug them and plug the other one in.
Wow.
So then I don't have to have splitters. I don't have to have all of that stuff going on up at the regulator area. So they're very helpful for any metalsmith who has a question about a torch or what to use or needs new supplies. And I've even sent back stuff to them that I have messed up or my handyman messed up, and they have repaired it or fixed it and sent it back to me, and they're very good about it. So, and they sell all of these, and that's how I found them, that I was looking for the page tips for my Mecco Midget. But yes, so that's a really good source for that. So passing it along.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. So
good to know.
Well, I want to thank you for your time. It's been a fascinating discussion. I see now a little bit behind the curtain's been pulled open a little bit. I love that you wore your wig. I'm going to have to get myself one. Now I just have to figure out what color it's going to be. And I'm really looking forward to seeing your new stories, because I will be following your stories to see what you post. Yeah, they're very good. Y'all, please check out her social media pages. Like her pages, go check out my pages, like my pages, because that's what keeps us going, knowing that people actually care about what we're posting and what we're creating. And I'll post her contact information at the end of this, again, in the comments. This interview will only be up on the Facebook group for the next day, and then it's going to be on YouTube, and you can watch it anytime again on YouTube, or listen to it while you work if you're just looking for some inspiration. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. If you leave a comment, March, April, May, I'm giving away Jewelry Maker Guild enamel pins to the person who randomly wins for leaving a comment. So I'd also love for you to share the videos and to share these great artists' websites with your friends. Pick out a picture that you like, share it on your page, and come see us again in a couple weeks. Our next guest is Mary Lee Ray, the very amazing enameling artist. She's going to be showing us all of her work and hopefully her enameling secret. So you'll want to check that out. That's the last Wednesday of the month in March. Hopefully we don't have any more technology issues. And thank you, Sue, so much for coming back this week, even though last week we had to cancel it. So
yeah,
you were amazing.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
I really appreciate it.
So nice to meet you.
It was
finally.
I know. I know these people from either being, they're my clients, or from seeing them at shows, and then or having them as students, but I never really get to, I want to sit down and ask them all these questions, and how do you do that? So the podcast was a great excuse. Yeah. But ultimately, I'm shy and nervous to talk to people. So it took years for me to be like, okay, just do it. Just do it. You want to do it. Just get out of your zone. Yeah. And I was telling you that I haven't told anyone who's listening that rhinoceroses have a special meaning for me, because when I was in college, there was a book on rhinos that basically told you that to think of them whenever you're fearful of something or that you want to do something, you just charge forward. You have thick skin, you have a horn on your nose. You can tackle and go through anybody and do it, and you'll be just fine. And so when I saw that piece, I thought, this is perfect for this conversation. So thank you so much for giving us a glimpse into your masterfulness.
Oh, thank you.
And you're such a great business person and also artist. So I admire that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right, you guys. We'll see you in a couple weeks with Mary Lee Ray. And thanks again, Sue.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.